Well, s'mores, gather around the campfire. We got another cozy story for you guys. Today, we're traveling to the good old bluegrass state of Kentucky.
Are we getting
Steve,
fried or no, just kidding.
yeah, we'll get some KFC on the way, and we'll have a finger licking good time.
There you go, man. Yeah, hey, because that's exactly what I want to eat by a campfire is some Kentucky Fried Chicken.
A
So
bucket of fried chicken.
there you go. Oh yeah, hey, welcome to Beyond the Campfire. I am Steven the Indian, along with Will the Cowboy. And yeah, just grab a blanket, get comfortable. We talk about ghosts, we talk about cryptids, we talk about conspiracy theories, anything that goes bump in the night, anything you would want to hear or listen to around a campfire. So, if this is your first time listening to us, we're glad you're here. Just come around the campfire and yeah, if you want to connect with us, you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, all that good stuff at Beyond Campfire or at Beyond Campfire Podcast. And yeah, you can find us there. So we would love for you guys to connect with us. But yeah, Will, what tale are we telling around the campfire today?
Well, this tale, unlike some past ones, there's a lot of controversy behind this one. It's a good spooky story to tell around the campfire, but the question of whether or not is all of it true, I don't know. But we've got a tale of murder, mystery, a good tale of hauntings and possessions. Just an all around like really spooky stuff. Some of it actually is true. Some of it not so much. Well, I say some of it's not true. What I mean by some of it might not be true is some of it could be, but we don't have any documentation on it, and we'll get into that a little bit later to kind of hear your opinion on that. So yeah, you ready? You ready to jump in the car and drive on over to Kentucky?
Let's do it, man. Let's get on this road trip.
All right. So me and you, our destination is Bobby Mackey's Music World. So the story of Bobby Mackey's is a story wrapped in mystery. Okay, so like I said earlier, many people claim this place is haunted. Could this be true? Or could this just be trying to sell an attraction? Who haunts it? Like, I mean, if it's haunted, who's haunting this place, right? Could it be Johanna, a lover, a not starstruck lover. I was going to say starstruck lover. Could it be Johanna, a broken-hearted woman? Or could it be the true murderer of a person named Pearl Bryan, searching for her head? Well, we're going to dive into all these mysteries and more, and then kind of from there, figure out what we believe. So, we've arrived. Are you ready?
Let's do it, man. Yeah, I wanna hear about these mysterious, ghostly incidents, murder, all of that. Does. Let's get into
Yeah.
it.
So, of course, after this, me and Steven will have our own little ghostly story where Steven might flirt with a ghost woman.
Oh boy, I'm seeing
And
a trend over here.
Steven's crush, if you're watching this, I promise he likes you and you only.
There we go. Thanks for that, man.
Anyways, so the most famous and the only story that we actually have true documentation for is that of the murder of Pearl Bryan. So, Pearl Bryan was born in 1874 before being murdered at the age of 22 in 1896. Again, all of this is true. This has all been documented. She was 5 months pregnant at the time of her death. And the man responsible was her secret lover, Scott Jackson. He was a college student at the Ohio College of Dental Surgery, and but he didn't do it alone. He had some help from his good old college roommate buddy, Alonzo Walling. So they apparently drugged her with cocaine, and this is not hearsay. This is true. The autopsy report does confirm that she had the contents of cocaine in her stomach. She was stabbed several times on her back and on her hands. And you know what the most gruesome part of this was?
Well, what was it? Yeah, we've gone through Jack the Ripper, so I'm ready, man. Let's do this.
They cut off her head.
Oh wow, yeah. Jeez, always a beheading, almost.
And yeah, so you might be wondering, okay, so how does this tie in with, Bobby Mackey's, right? We got this
Right.
crazy murder and everything. How does this tie into Bobby Mackey's? So where her body was discovered was 2.5 miles away from Bobby Mackey's, in another town. And actually, cool fun fact: in that town, if you go to the YMCA, her body was discovered behind what is now a YMCA.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
an interesting connection.
So the man who discovered her was named John Hewling, who was a 17-year-old farmhand. Real quick note: Bobby Mackey's at this time was not a honky-tonk. I know it makes you kind of sad to think Hank Williams was not playing there in 1896. No, it was a slaughterhouse. And so the way a slaughterhouse works, right? You've got to drain the blood of the animals.
Right.
So the biggest known legend of Bobby Mackey's, there's a well in the basement.
Oh.
So when it was a slaughterhouse, the blood would go down the well. And this is going to play into the legend of what happened to her. But before we get to that, we must answer the question of where did her head go?
That's a very valid question.
I know. Where did her head go? So before her killers were hanged, yes, they were hanged. They were found guilty and then quickly hanged. They gave several locations of where her head could be. They drained the Covington Waterworks. Nothing. They drained the Miami and Erie Canal. Nothing. They claimed it was near on a sandbar near Dayton, Kentucky. Nothing. But there's one legend. I mentioned the well earlier because there's one location that they spoke of where the head could be that could tie into why people might think Bobby Mackey's is where she was killed. That's because underneath the basement, I told you when they kill animals, the blood drains into this well.
Right.
The well, which has been sealed, but you can still access it, goes down and out to guess where?
From the well, I guess it would drain to a local water supply or something like that.
The Ohio River.
The Ohio River. Okay.
So one of the locations that Alonzo and Scott said they placed her head is that it could be in the Ohio River. Thus, the legend was born.
Ah.
But the legend doesn't just say that they murdered her at Bobby Mackey's. No. The legend about Bobby Mackey's that ties into this murder is that Alonzo and Scott were not just murdering her to murder her or murdering her because Scott didn't want anybody to find out that he had a bastard child.
Right.
They murdered her for the devil.
For the devil?
For
Oh,
the devil.
I was not expecting to get into occult type stuff today, but here we are. Oh, man.
So many people believe that after they killed her, they threw her head down the well as an offering to the man himself, Lucifer.
You know, I've heard of devil down in Georgia, but this is devil down in Kentucky. Or I guess from where I'd be up in Kentucky. But wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Sacrificing her to the Prince of Darkness, Lucifer. Very, very interesting. All right. Well, yeah, let's
All right.
let's hear more. What happens next?
So because of this, a lot of people attribute the well of Bobby Mackey's as being a portal to hell. The well is a portal to hell. Call me Dr. Seuss because I'd be dropping the rhymes.
I don't know if Dr. Seuss would talk about Lucifer or hell in his children's books. But,
I mean, based off what he was doing with his nurse, probably.
Yeah.
Actually, it was his wife's nurse.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Wife's nurse? Oh, that's even worse. Oh,
have you not heard about that?
I've heard a little. I haven't looked into it that much.
So his wife had cancer, and he cheated on her with the nurse.
Golly.
And then after his wife died, he married the nurse.
You think you know a guy? Anyway.
Anyways,
So
yeah. So because of this,
portals.
Yeah.
we've talked about portals before, so we're kind of revisiting that topic. So
Mhm.
the legend is it's in the well
Mhm.
that there's a. Okay, gotcha. So
Now, of course, the well's been sealed up, so it's not like an open hole that goes all the way down the earth, but it's like a supernatural portal.
I was gonna say, if you and me were to dig up the well and to go down there, would we?
No, it doesn't go that deep.
Uh,
Sadly,
we might find her head. Well, actually, wait, has her head ever been found?
nope. Because the thing is, because here's the thing: is if it's in the Ohio River, we're never
Yeah,
gonna find it.
yeah.
So this now ties into some of the hauntings of Bobby Mackey's. A lot of people who go to the basement believe that it is a place of darkness. They get this eerie feeling. They feel dread. They feel sorrow. Some people have been scratched. Some people hear growls. And on occasion, there has been a possession and even an exorcism inside Bobby Mackey's.
Okay. Wow. There's a lot of stuff that's happened there. Ooh.
People have seen dark, shadowy figures lurking. And a lot of people believe that it's because of this satanic sacrifice that happened that opened a literal portal to hell.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to murder a woman, kill her unborn child, cut off her head, offer it to Satan. Yeah, I'd imagine you'd have some demons and things lurking around and
I know, right?
crawling around the place. So yeah, that about checks out.
Yeah. So yeah, so not only are they seen, not only are these demons seen, but apparently people have also seen her wandering around the bar looking for her head.
Pearl Bryan,
Pearl Bryan's known to haunt the location looking for her head.
is her ghost headless or?
Yep.
Okay. Very,
And
very
now, and a lot of people believe, a lot of people believe this could just be superstition, that this could just be an urban legend to kind of sell tickets. Um, but there have been a couple people who have encountered things. For example, Bobby Mackey's wife will never return back to Bobby Mackey's, which we'll get about Bobby Mackey's. There's a little bit more history about that place in just a second. But his wife will never go back there because she was going upstairs and she got pushed down some stairs after encountering a man who threatened her. I can't remember. Like he threatened her or something, and he pushed her down he either pushed her down the stairs or pushed her, and the guy was the ghost of Scott.
the ghost. Okay, wow. All right, so he just got.
So Pearl Bryan is not the only person who haunts the place. Her murderers could also be there.
I see. Why? Huh. You know, I almost maybe you'll get into it in just a second, but I was like, why are there ghosts there? But I was just like, if they're offering something to Satan, maybe part of the deal is they get to continue on forever as some kind of spiritual being in this place as well. I don't know.
Now again, because of all this dark energy, another person who's had encounters, I can't remember his name, but the groundskeeper, the guy who basically was in charge of looking over Bobby Mackey's back during this time, I think it was like early 2000s or the 90s. Um, he was so terrified by this place that every night after he did his sweeps, he would lock himself in his room, barricade the door, and sleep with a shotgun in his hand.
Oh shoot. Okay. I mean, yeah. Like, wow, we got a lot of dark stuff going on here.
Yeah. So that's Pearl Bryan's story. Okay. So like I said, Pearl Bryan, her story is true. There is documentation that she was murdered. Killers were of course hanged. So there is public documentation of that. However, there's not any documentation to sort of suggest that she was killed at Bobby Mackey's. There's nothing really to point that there. It's just the Ohio River theory, and like I said, could these stories be true? Um, that's up for debate.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they do make your skin crawl, right? I mean, all these reports of spirits crawling around, lurking around, Pearl Bryan looking for her head, the way that she was really just cut up and tossed aside and thrown into a well that led to the Ohio River. Just yeah,
As
I
a
mean,
sacrifice,
right. as a sacrifice,
It wasn't just like a, oh, I don't like you, I'm gonna murder you. It's like, I'm gonna kill you to please Lucifer.
yeah, you got murder, you got mystery, you got intrigue, you got occult, you got the king of demons himself, Satan. I mean, the guy who literally rebelled against the Almighty God. Like, my goodness, there's a lot. There's a lot in this story, more so than I would have even expected. So
Yeah. So Pearl Bryan is the only ghost known to be seen. Another tragic story is that of Johanna. Sadly, her story has really no evidence to sort of back this claim of her story. Again, there's no documentation at all. Could it have still occurred? I mean, what do you think? Do you think back then, this was in the 30s? Do you think that that this could have, like, in a small town of, like, in Kentucky? Do you think this sort of thing could have been documented, or what do you think could have happened in the documentation if there was documentation? Just kind of, I put in my notes to ask you this because you're a lawyer.
all right, let's hear it, man. I'm ready to lay down the law.
Well, no, I was just asking. Do you think that the story could still be true, even if there is, like, what do you think could have happened to the
Oh, I
documentation?
mean, look. So here's the thing. And this isn't even so much of a law thing as it is a history thing. Because
Mhm.
actually, I don't know if our s'mores know this, but yeah, before I got my law degree, my undergrad was in history. But if things are well documented, that makes it likely to be true. But think about all the events that actually did happen that never were documented. Now, does it mean it didn't happen because it wasn't documented? No, it just means there was an event that was never documented. So, I mean, with anything, yeah, I mean, anything could be true if there's people telling stories and reporting that it happened.
Mhm.
It could have happened.
Okay.
Now, as historians, you also look at why people told tall tales, why they were likely to believe something, why they would spread something. And whenever there's like doubt on a story, it's usually because people had other reasons to report something. And so I think in this case, you suggested that there's at least some motive to sell tickets to this place. And so, you know as a historian, I would say, okay, well, there's motive to maybe hype up the story a little bit,
Mhm.
and to maybe even make up stories to put alongside the real story. Now, does that discredit the story? Not necessarily, but it does at least cast doubt as to whether
Yeah.
these stories were told in good faith or whether they were made up. But
Okay.
they could be true still, right?
Yeah.
So that's my take on that.
Yeah. And I think like, and so getting back to the story, because this next tale, I really hope it's true, because it's a good story. I mean, it's tragic. It's heartbreaking. There's a lot to it. So we'll get right into it. Pull up your blankets, because this one, get your tissues. This one's a doozy. Okay. So as I said earlier, there's this woman named Johanna. So Johanna's daddy, he was a mob boss who ran a gambling place where Bobby Mackey sits today, back in the 30s. And so the story goes that his daughter Johanna, she fell in love with this guy who was a performer at the club, and her dad didn't like him. So normally, as a dad, what would we do if our daughter was dating a man we did not like?
Well, that's where you do the good old shotgun speech, but
Oh, well, he skipped the speech and killed him.
oh, he okay. Wow, no, not even a warning. All right.
Nope, no warning shots. And the reason why he killed him was because he found out Johanna was pregnant from him.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah.
I think
So her
I do.
daddy did not approve of the guy. He got his daughter pregnant, and he killed him.
Mm.
So
Under
Johanna was
understandable,
heartbroken. Huh?
understandable crush out or no, no, I'm not.
Well, he's a mob boss, He had
Yeah.
to meet his quota, and he's like, "Well, who am I going to kill this month? Well, let's see. That
Note
guy pissed me
to
off.
note to self: do not date a mob boss's daughter.
Your crush, her dad, is not a mob boss, is he?
Uh, no, he is not.
All
So
right, so you're safe
I might be safe for now.
for now. Anyways, so Johanna was heartbroken by this, and of course, she's pregnant. So she's got them pregnancy hormones going crazy. So she tried to kill her dad, and it didn't work. You
Oh,
know?
there's just mutual trying to kill people going on. Okay.
Yeah, she was mad at her dad for killing her lover, so she tried to kill her dad. Pregnancy hormones, right? Pregnant women, right? Bat crap crazy. When that didn't work, Johanna did the only thing she could do. Do you know what that was?
Did she kill herself?
In the basement of Bobby
Okay.
Mackey's, she chucked some poison and killed herself.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, all right. She chugged some poison. Good. I was getting images of her hanging herself, and I was just like, ooh, that's
Nah,
okay.
she just chugged some poison and she died. She killed
Arsenic.
herself because she could not deal with the heartbreak of losing her lover and knowing that her father got away with it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, yeah. I guess some people do things like that when in awful situations. So, wow, yeah, definitely. I see why this place is haunted, man. It's just like if all these things really did happen, like golly, why
It's so sad.
there would be some dark energies floating
Yeah.
around. So,
So some claim to see her walking around the bar. Others claim that you can smell her rose perfume lingering in the air. Um, as well, some can hear her voice dancing in the air. You could hear her speaking. You can hear her singing. You can hear Johanna to this day. And this story was actually a huge inspiration for Bobby Mackey because the guy who started Bobby Mackey, his name is Bobby Mackey. He opened. I should have probably told you guys the history of the place beginning. He opened the bar in '78 as a honky-tonk, and he's a famous musician. He's a famous country singer, and he actually wrote a song about Johanna called "Johanna," of course, by Bobby Mackey. And it tells her story, and it's a really good song. Like I love rocking out to it. It's a really good song. It's got that old country twang to it. It's a good song.
have I heard it before? Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay, I'll have to look it up. You said it's literally called Johanna?
Johanna
Okay,
by Bobby Mackey.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah, that's very interesting. So,
Yeah. So before we go to the ChatGPT story, I want to go into some of them. So I was just going to cover the two big stories of like what's kind of told here. And now I'm just going to kind of go into some of the smaller haunting stuff. If we travel back down to the stairs into the basement, not only is there a portal to hell there, but there's a staircase that leads to nowhere. And so why not have a hell portal next to a heaven portal?
yeah, okay. Hellport,
So
staircase to nowhere, Jacob's ladder. I don't know. I'm
yeah.
feeling stuff going on. All right.
Um, as well in the basement before you get to the well room, there's like a wall that they call the wall of faces. So it's this area in the basement where people have reportedly seen disembodied faces appear in the wall, especially through photos or in person during paranormal activity spikes. The faces are often described as disoriented, angry, or in anguish, and sometimes seem to move or exchange expressions.
Okay. Okay. Sheesh.
The wall in question is in the back basement area where the supposed portal to hell room, the portal to hell, the old well is located. It's like a kind of rough old concrete stonework. It could be just well, we'll get into that. Like what could be the reason behind it?
Yeah.
People who have kind of encountered this wall, they've had feelings of dread, nausea, the feeling of being watched. There's been cold spots and EMF spikes around the wall, as claimed by paranormal investigators. Some visitors to the wall have even claimed that they heard whispers or voices emitting from it.
Ooh. Yeah.
So now, of course, there is the skeptic take that these faces could be part of periadolia or suggestion after hearing the legends. So basically, that's like a condition where I just told you guys about the faces. You go to Bobby Mackey's and you see the faces because you heard about the faces.
Right.
Some claim, also skeptics claim that maybe it could be the lighting conditions or camera effects, and the power of expectation may play a big role in what people see. I don't know.
Who's to say?
So
Is
there's
to.
also been reports and claims that objects have been thrown across the bar. There's a jukebox that it's unplugged, yet it'll turn on and start playing music by itself. Pretty spooky.
Yeah. Maybe playing Johanna.
Maybe.
All right.
Well, actually, what some people have said there is I think it's the wedding waltz. Is it called the wedding waltz? Like that song has been like the radio, the jukebox turns on. I think it's the wedding waltz. It's an old song, and it'll start playing on the jukebox. But the thing is, that's not on the jukebox.
Oh, so
Like
it's
that's
playing songs that aren't even on the jukebox.
yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that would freak me out. Golly.
So yeah, so that's Bobby Mackey's. I'm gonna get in the ChatGPT story, but I have some very sad news.
Oh, what's going on?
Bobby Mackey's was torn down in 2024.
What? Like just last year?
Yep, they tore it down.
Oh man.
Now there's some good news. Bobby Mackey, he saved the wall as
Okay.
well as the bricks of the old well. They're at a temporary location because Bobby has torn down the place to rebuild a more modern, more updated bar. So maybe in the future, if the energy's still there, maybe we can encounter it. You know.
Oh man. So
So sorry for that
people,
news.
no more people seeing Pearl Bryan crawling around looking for her head or anything like that.
Yeah, very sad.
Okay. So I guess ChatGPT story is gonna, I guess,
It's a
be a
time travel.
time travel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, all right. Oh, that is sad. Okay.
Yeah, it is really sad because I was like, I kind of wanted to go.
Right. Me too. Yeah. Oh well. Because Kentucky, we've talked about a lot of places, but Kentucky's still far. But that would have been one of the closer places.
Yeah, there's like I'll just go ahead and say before I get into the ChatGPT story. Um, when we start doing the Patreon episodes, which I really cannot, I really want us to be able to do it because it is going to be the most fun thing ever. Because like we're going to do the St. Augustine episode soon. I know it's you guys that one person that is subscribed to our Patreon has been throwing their phone across the wall because they're like, I'm paying $3 for nothing, and it's like, no, we're getting to it, and it's worth it because I've I've done like paranormal investigations, but this one in St. Augustine was just something else. Like we had activity from the moment I walked in the door till towards the end of the night. And I really cannot wait for Steven to experience these things because whether or not this is actually like there's actual paranormal activity or whether or not these cryptids are even real, I just think the idea of Steven and I walking around the woods or being locked into some haunted location till morning, it's going to be wild. So, without further ado,
Here
let's
we go.
travel to Kentucky where Steven and I are doing Bobby Mackey's Music World.
Let's do it.
Beyond the Campfire presents Bobby Mackey's Music World, a dance with Johanna. Wilder, Kentucky, 2:07 a.m. Did I ever mention where this place is located? Is in Wilder. I should have said that earlier. My bad.
Hey, you're good, my brother.
2:07 a.m. There was something wrong with the air. Steven stepped into the dimly lit honky-tonk and immediately felt it. Like the walls were holding their breath. The stage was empty, but the faint scent of whiskey and perfume lingered like a memory that refused to die. He reached up and flicked on his flashlight, the beam cutting through the dusty haze. Will stepped in behind them, closing the door with a quiet click. His boots echoed as he walked across the worn wooden floor. Smells like bad decisions and broken hearts. Perfect for us, Stephen replied, adjusting his mic. Bobby Mackey's Music World, home of country music, urban legends, and at least 3 confirmed exorcisms. Will pulled the EMF reader from his coat pocket and the supposed gateway to hell in the basement. Can't forget that. They exchanged a look, half excitement, half dread. The hunt was on. 1 a.m. Earlier that night. The owner had given them the key and left in a hurry, mumbling something about not staying past midnight. Stephen had laughed. Will had not. They'd split up as they often did. Stephen went to the dressing rooms while Will made his way toward the basement, flashlight bobbing like a firefly in a cave. The building creaked around them, shifting like something sleeping beneath the floorboards. They recorded EVP bursts, scanned cold spots, but it wasn't until Stephen reached the stage that things began to change. 2:15 a.m., main dance floor. Stephen stood on the edge of the dance floor, eyes drawn to a shadow moving along the far wall. It wasn't threatening, more like curious, feminine. His skin prickled. Something was near. A
Uh,
low hum drifted through the air. Music. A piano melody. Soft and sweet. Bleeding from the walls. The bar was empty, and the jukebox was unplugged. Then he saw her. A woman, maybe mid-20s in a flowing 1940s dress, stood near the center of the room. She shimmered like heat off a pavement, transparent, but real enough to see her lips part in a smile. Care to dance? She asked, voice like a fading love letter. Stephen blinked. Are you Johanna? She smiled wider. Only if you believe in ghosts. The lights above flickered. Stephen felt his legs move like he wasn't quite in control. The air thickened, warmer, scented with rose water and sorrow. She reached for him, fingers brushing his sleeve. Not cold, not warm, familiar. He stepped closer. You sang here. I died here, she whispered, but I still wait for him. Every night. Would you stay a while? Just a dance, just a song. Stephen's heart pounded, but he couldn't move. Her eyes were deep, endless, longing. Behind him, the door slammed. I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
guys.
Oh.
For those of you watching on the audio only version, you're not seeing the things I'm doing, but so yeah, get
Anyways,
it on YouTube. Watch this on YouTube. But I'm kind of acting out some of the stuff that Will is saying. So yeah,
yeah,
if you're on the audio version, you're having fun, but get on the YouTube. The
yeah.
YouTube is where it's at. So
All right, 2:18 a.m. Basement entrance. Will felt it before he heard it. The air shifted. The EMF spiked hard into the red. Something screamed, a sound caught between a horse's cry and a woman's sob. He raced upstairs, boots hammering hard against the wood. As he reached the dance floor, he found Stephen frozen, hand outstretched toward nothing. Stephen! He barked. Back away! Stephen blinked. The music stopped, and Johanna vanished in a slow, unraveling wisp of pale blue light. Stephen stumbled back, heart racing, sweat on his brow. She was right there. I swear to you, Will, she spoke to me. She asked me to stay. I almost did. Will put a hand on his shoulder. I believe you. But this place, it feeds on loneliness, on longing. That ain't love. It's a trap. Stephen swallowed. It felt so real, like she knew me, like I could have stayed forever. Will gave him a nod. That's how they get you. 3:12 a.m. The final sweep. They finished the investigation, recording final EVP clips that caught faint singing, always the same tune, a woman's voice, lilting, sad, waiting. When they returned to the car, Stephen looked back at the music hall. You think she really was Johanna? Will lit a cigarette, I don't know why I'm smoking, and stared at the dark window. Maybe. Or maybe just what this place wanted you to see. Some ghosts haunt buildings, others haunt people. Stephen didn't respond. He was still thinking about her smile, about her feeling that, just for a moment, he was the one she'd waited all these years to dance with. Postscript from the episode audio log. Stephen, I don't know what she was, but I still hear her song sometimes when I'm editing late. Just a whisper behind the static. Just one line. I'll wait for you, darling. Just one more night. Will, if you ever find yourself dancing alone in the dark, just make sure it's you leading. Ghosts don't always let go. End of entry. Episode 47, Bobby Mackey's Music World. Available now Beyond the Campfire. It's not actually episode 47, but it's
hey, it's whatever. Wow, that was more intimate than I thought it would be.
Steven's crush. If you're watching this, he's not. If you do go on that second date with him, I promise we will not have him leave you for some ghost woman. I'll make sure that I get him out of the building.
There we go. Yeah, man, it is a shame that place is not around anymore. Not because I want to dance the night away with some ghost lady. But like, yeah, I don't know. Just like there's this thing of like legend and story and folklore, and even if you don't
Mhm.
necessarily believe in all the spooky stuff, it's nice to go and kind of just check things out, kind of look around, and yeah,
Yeah.
the thought of that being gone, that's sad. That is sad. So.
So yeah, any final thoughts on Johanna, on Pearl Bryan, on the hauntings of Bobby Mackey's?
If you guys have been watching the show for a long time, I'm the more skeptical of the two of us. So for me, I'm kind of like, this kind of sounds a bit hyped up. That doesn't mean it's not true, but I would have reason to doubt. I wish I could have challenged my doubts by going there, but I to me, I'm like, yeah, this kind of seems more trumped up. But I don't know. What do you think, Will?
Well, I think I want to believe it's true. I just think the only hard part, and this is probably the only episode I'm gonna tell you guys, this is the only episode where this will be happening, to where there's no documentation to back up anything. Um, I know, like with the Men in Black, when we say there's not a lot of documentation, we had a lot of eyewitness accounts. So, but with Bobby Mackey's, I just think this is one of those where it could be true, it could not be true. I don't think we really have a good, sure way of knowing, and I think that's the reason why it remains a controversial topic, you know, in folklore, or in the urban legends, sense, where it's a controversial topic amongst paranormal investigators. Some believe it could be true, some believe it's not true. It's a debated topic, and I think it's just going to have to be that way until we can probably get a piece of paper that says that Johanna existed, or find proof that it was satanic worship. So, any last thoughts before we go?
Yeah, no, that's it, man. So, yeah, that definitely put a shiver up my spine. Just being around the campfire, hearing about Satan and beheaded women and all that good stuff.
And you almost falling for a ghost woman, and
So yeah, that's all I have. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys on our next spooky tale.
yeah, and make sure your prom date has a pulse.